The Queen of Granada, by M. Riff. Chapter 187, The Breakfast. She had dozed off for a while, maybe a couple of hours, as her brain began to resurface. She felt that her entire universe was filled with bitter discomfort. She was still lying in a prone position, her face covered by her hand. Through her fingers, her nose caught a whiff of the smell of toast. It could be coming from the neighbor, but on the other hand, it seemed like it was coming from the kitchen. It also seemed as if someone was washing dishes in the kitchen. Rita got up and walked through the narrow passage between the VW bus and the kitchen. She couldn't believe her eyes when she saw that Rosen had set the breakfast table and was sitting with a cup of coffee, as if Tobar and the children would come and sit at the table at any moment. Seeing Rita, she smiled and said, "Good morning, Nara. I'm glad you're up. I was just about to come and wake you up." She added, "Tobar and the kids have gone to see the sunrise in the Sierra Nevada. They'll be back any minute now." Rita didn't know what to do. She felt that they were under a huge glass dome that could break at any moment and come crashing down on them like sharp shards of glass. She expected Rosen to break down at any second and scold her for not stopping Tobar and the children from driving toward the coast. She imagined Rosen yelling at her for visiting the blind bookseller, borrowing the book, venturing into the catacombs, and bringing the curse of the rose upon their family. Confused and hesitant, Rita sat on the edge of her usual chair, even though no plate had been placed there. Rosen glanced at her and said, "Why are you sitting there, Nara? Please take your usual seat." Rita moved to a chair on the other side, next to Nuria's spot. She noticed the book lying in the corner of the table. When Rosen noticed Rita's attention to the book, she smiled and said, "It was on your bedside table, and you were sleeping. So, I took it to read while I was sitting here. It's an interesting book, The Way to the Secret Rose Garden." Rita looked down at the table to avoid Rosen's gaze as they ate breakfast in silence. Rosen was rinsing her plate under the tap when Rita started to clear the table. Rosen observed her and advised, "You might want to leave the table as it is. Tobar and the kids will be back soon for breakfast." Heading toward the door, Rosen added, "I think I need to lie down for half an hour. I often get migraines when I'm sleep-deprived." She returned from the hallway and added, "If Floris and Manolo come knocking for me to join their wedding on the coast, please let them know I won't go under any circumstances." Rita nodded. Perhaps a couple of hours of sleep would improve Rosen's condition. Given the circumstances, Rita could only retreat to the VW bus. She sat on the bed for a while, eventually crawled under the duvet, and fell asleep. She woke up around noon, sensing something burning. She feared the house might be on fire and hurried into the kitchen. Looking through the large window, she saw Rosen sitting by a massive bonfire in the middle of the garden. Looking through the large window, she saw Rosen sitting by a massive fire in the middle of the garden. She had stacked all her books and booklets next to her. Rita went out into the garden, stood a few steps behind Rosen and looked at the fire, not knowing what to do. Rosen turned and said with a smile, "Nara, come and help me. I'm in the process of cleaning up. These books contain far too many dangerous secrets." Rita sat down next to her, watching as Rosen burned all her medical textbooks and recipe booklets. Suddenly, she spotted the old book in the flames and reached for it. But all she could save was just a small piece of the wrapper. She tossed it on the ground and extinguished the fire with her hand. Rosen looked at her and said, "The Way to the Secret Rose Garden held a deadly secret." She got up, went inside, and returned with all of Pal's books. As she threw them into the fire, she explained, "Pal has started university in England. He doesn't need these books anymore." Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Rosen looked at Rita and said, "I'm busy with the fire, Nara. Can you open the door, please? I'm sure it's Tobar and Nuria."